Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. 51st Sutra. Anirvachaniyam Premaswarupam Muka Swadanavatu Prakashate Kwapi Patre Gunarahitam Kamanarahitam Pratikshana Vardhamanam Avichinna Sukshmataram Anubhavarupam Tat Prapya Tadeva Avalokayati Tadeva Shrunoti Tadeva Bhashayati Tadeva Chintayati. These are the sutras. Let us try to cover these things. They are related sutras. Now, the first sutra itself of this series, Anirvachaniyam Prema Swarupam, is talking about prema. He could have very clearly given us bhakti if he is only talking about bhakti. But bhakti he is not talking about, he is talking about prema. That's why he has given us the prema swarupam. Even that itself is anirvachaniyam. It is difficult, it is impossible to give a nirvachana. Nirvachana means explanation or the idea about that. What is the experience of love? It cannot be explained. In fact, the very simple idea is that the gap between the experience and expression itself is so huge. Even in the normal course of time, the experience belongs to the inside. Any experience for that matter belongs to inside. Expression comes to the outside. Experience belongs to the sukshma. Expression belongs to the sthula, gross world. And expression uses a sensory organ. And sensory organs basically function not because that they have an ability to function, but that they limit their perception, therefore that they are able to function. Like, for example, my ears hear, not because that sounds that hear, but because that there is a small little band that you hear. And the ears only can convey that idea. Similarly, your speaking, your expressions, whatever that you give, is all limited. In fact, that's why I often say that particularly when somebody is in half coma state or in the patient lying down in the ICU and all that, I see people talking in front of them. Yeah, his BP is going high, this thing and all that thing. I don't know how he survives once this is over. I always tell them, don't talk in front of them because they might not give an expression to it. But they are hearing all those things, whatever that you are talking. It's going into them. It will have its effect. In fact, there's one lady who has written a book, Near-Death Experience, where she says that the doctors were talking about all those things in front of me, thinking that I'm already dead or half dead. But I hear every dialogue that is going on. Only thing is I can't say anything to them. Fortunately, that I'm so strong that whatever that they said, and in their talk, they have almost dismissed me. They were only waiting for when I should be shifted to mortuary or whatever it is. And I survived and came back. So this is the kind of thing that is there, the gap between the perception and the expression. In fact, even Bhagavad Gita is also like that. Perception is something what is gone in the battlefield. Expression is what is given in Bhagavad Gita. And it does not give anything. In fact, when you start giving an expression, it takes volumes. Like whatever that might have happened in Bhagavad Gita in the battlefield must have been about 15-20 minutes that conversation must have taken place. But by the time 15 minutes of whatever that Krishna communicated to Arjuna, transformation has taken place in the case of Arjuna. Whereas the same thing when Vyasa put it in the words, it is 700 sutras. So that means, in spite of that, also that whether he could really communicate, I don't know, because how many people are really get the impression that whatever Krishna said is something which can really bring about change. So experience and expression, the difference is so big. Now let me go to another very important idea, which I said at the beginning itself, that consciousness first, it experiences. That's what is bhavana. The love, that is the experience of consciousness itself. And that's why you see that the child, before all the other faculties develop, the child has a smile on his face out of love. Child loves you, has a love. Doesn't even have that expression. All that comes much more later. It belongs to the intellect. And you see, intellect comes at the child grows to 5 or 6 year old. Before that, experience of love that is there. So that's why experience belongs to the consciousness, expression belongs to the world outside. So therefore, in order to see that the expression has to reach the experience, it's absolutely impossible for that. It cannot reach that. Anirvachaniyam, prema swarupam. Prema is an experience that is at that level. At least in human being, that there are so many kinds of experiences that are there, the expression that is we try to give. But look at what happens in the case of animals. In the case of plants, they also have love. They also experience that love. And they have nothing to express. All that dog can do is that wag the tail. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't make any big sense to us. Similarly, like that, an animal just simply follows you out of love. But then there is no expression to that. So therefore, that expression belongs to the material world outside. Human being has developed the expression. Definitely, it falls so short of experience that we have. Prema is an experience. Prema swarupam. It's nature that is there. He also says that it is not just only prema, but it is swarupa. That means your own aspect of prema that is there. It's your feeling. Anirvachaniyam. It cannot be expressed. Many things cannot be expressed. Even that also cannot be expressed. Just because that it cannot be expressed, do you mean to say that experience did not take place? Experience certainly has taken place. Only thing is the expression is not there. Many people, even though it cannot be expressed, anirvachaniyam, but they try to expressed again and again. Our rishis have tried to express all those things. Our scriptures have tried to express all these things. They tried again and again. Like, for example, when Ishavasya Upanishad, Rishi says, Isavasya Midam Sarvam. His experience is something that everything is nothing but divinity. Isha Avasyam, Idam Sarvam, whatever that is there is completely Achadaniyam, covered by expression of that particular Brahman that is there. Isha Avasyam. But then he gave the idea. But how many people really get that expression? Does it really go anywhere near to the feeling that has? Even the small little simple experiences that we cannot express, how can it be about this particular thing? That's what he gives about in the next sutra, Mukha Swadanavatu. It's like the way that a dumb eating the sweet. Mukha is a dumb. When you give him sweet, how can he express that how great the sweet is, how wonderful the sweet is? He can't express because the words are not there. That particular example is very important because Mukha Swadanavatu is very important because it is the experiences. Often we think that experience belongs to somebody else. Expression belongs to somebody else. It is not happening. The same person has the expression and the same person experiences that. That's the reason why Mukha Swadanavatu makes a real important sense. Like, for example, you eat the sweet through the same mouth and you give an expression of words through the mouth. It's the same organ, the same center within you, the experiencing center and also expression center. Your own experience and your own express. We are not asking that whatever that experience of eyes, experience of ears to express. No, experience that you have done, your own tongue has done it. And let the expression also, let it come from the tongue. It cannot be possible. Do you mean to say that you cannot? In fact, what happens is that When he say Mukha Swadanavatu, it is not about the case of somebody who is a dump. Idea is that the moment that you have experience of that particular nature, you become yourself dumbfounded. You don't have expression. Dumbfounded you are. All other things that you can talk. But when this comes that you cannot talk. Why? Because the experience belongs to the consciousness. Particularly prema experience belongs to the consciousness. And consciousness is nothing but mauna. So you are trying to give an expression to the mauna. Only the way that you can give expression to the mauna is in the form of mauna, not in terms of words. Words belong to the world outside. Mauna belongs to the consciousness. How many people try to give that expression to that experience that they have? Rishis have given. And often people say that, particularly the rationalists will say that no, there is no expression of God at all. They didn't have that divinite expression. It's only that, in fact, when they try to comment on the Ishavasya Upanishad, they say that, yeah, Isha means basically that it is this, that, and all that. It's not really God. There is no question of God experience. They can't accept it, God experience. But then love is there, the God, love for God. The God experience, that's what he expresses there. You mean to say that love cannot be expressed? Many people try to express about that. Like, for example, Jesus Christ gave an expression to that. Buddha tried so much to give. Saints have given again and again. Meera expressed about all those things. But look at the way their expressions are not anywhere near the experience that they have. Rabindranath Tagore, once somebody asked him that, look, you must have been a satisfied person because you have written so many things. You have expressed your thoughts, your heart from that. Your poetry. He said, no. All that what I have written is like the way that somebody makes the tuning of the tambura. That's all I have done it. I have not done anything more than that. Already people thought that I have expressed, but I know that how much that has to be expressed that is there behind it. A real poet is somebody who says that what I have written is not at all anywhere near to what experience inside. Experience is something which is extraordinary. And love particularly experiences something like that. Something related to love also, anything like that. Like, for example, you go to Kanyakumari and see the sunrise or sunset. And when you are sitting there at the beach and then sun is coming up, particularly on a clear sky, the sky is coming up, look at the people, they become silent. And we have a very beautiful word for that in Sanskrit. It is avak. Avak means expressionless. Everybody who is watching there on the sunset will become silent at once because it's beyond all expressions. The sunset is also like that. And you ask somebody, why is it? What is there beautiful in that? That means you try to bring in the intellect. Intellect spoils the whole thing. What else can you say? Wow, sun is so beautiful. Every day sun rises, every day sun sets. What's big about it? Like round sun. Sun is always round. What is big deal about it? You see? And you start questioning it, the whole thing will drop off. You can't even go anywhere near that. Intellect can only spoil that expression. That's why love is something which unites. Bhakti is something which brings together. Whereas intellect is that vibhakti, it separates. It divides. It is like somebody saying that beautiful rose I take to somebody, and that person says, okay, I will tell you. I'll give you tomorrow what is this beautiful rose about. And then he takes it to the lab and distills it and then brings out a couple of test tubes saying that this has got this acid, this content that is there. But there is no test tube which contains what is called the beauty of rose. It's not there. So therefore, it is inexpressible. But people say that, you see, that's another very interesting thing is that if you accept that expression, somebody says that God is there, then you also have to go in search of that. You also go looking for that. Love is a simple thing. And you also have to go for that. But then we don't want to go for that because our intellect comes into the way. And that's the reason why we deny it. By denying it, we avoid proceeding further. That's what the Karl Marx said, that God is dead. God does not exist. And somebody asked him, what's the problem with God? He is there, of course. Why do you want to say that he is not there? He says, if he's there, I have to seek him. So the best thing is that say he's not there. So therefore I can avoid him. So it is to avoid that you see that expression is not there. And the whole society is also trying to see that how your experience of love is denied. That's why people say that what is love and all those things. Come on, bring in the intellect, do intellectually all those things in the material world. In fact, I've heard the whole talk on that, saying that emotions destroy emotions are the enemy to the intellect. What an unfortunate thing it is about that. But every mother has an expression of the experience of that love of a child. Every child has an experience of the mother. It's always there, not only in the mother and child in a human being. You see, every race has that kind of an experience behind mother and a child. So therefore, basically it is there. Then why did they express? You mean to say that they did not have an experience and they give an expression? For what say they have not, they said a lie, they told a lie, they told something which is not there. Why did they tell? For whose sake? In fact, if you are telling something else a lie, it is for the taking some benefit. You are getting something out of it. What did they get out of it? Like, for example, Jesus Christ has given all that expression to the experience that he had. And for that, he got a cross. Similarly, Socrates has given expression to all those things such a beautiful way in his talks. What he got a cup of poison. And Meera, all that expression that he has given about the love for Krishna, what is that she got? She was thrown out of the palace. She went onto the streets. In fact, look at all the bhaktas. They are given such expression, but they're on the streets. They became poverty. Alila Mansur also given that expression. Annal Haq. What a beautiful way that he said. But for that, his hands and legs were cut off. But then why did they express? Because these people have given expression, that means to say there is a region that you can go. There's an idea that you can like. You can raise above that level. Intellect, you can stop and then take a big leap onto the state of love, which is there in our expression. That's why Anirvachaniyam Prema Swarupam becomes very important. This has been given in various expressions by various saints. Like, for example, in a colloquial way in Hindi, that we'll say that a dumb getting the sweet, getting the good. And that's the kind of an expression that they give. In fact, in Telugu, I read one very beautiful expression. It says that my heart is beating in my throat. It can't come out of it. Throat cannot give an expression to what the heart feels it. What a beautiful expression, what a beautiful poetry it is. Not that really some heart is coming and blocking at the choking in the throat, but the feeling is that way, that you can't express it. When you're in the state of love, you become silent. In fact, all the complaints go away the moment we're in the state of experience of love. All complaints go away because you have gone beyond the mind, beyond the intellect, beyond all those things. And that's what is basically the way that the world looks. Extraordinary. Experience is something which is so extraordinary. That's why when Majnun said that he's in love with Laila, he says that you should look at the Laila through Majnu's eyes. Then you see what Laila is. So that is the kind of simple, ordinary love has that expression within that. So, Anirvachaniyam Prema Swarupam Muka Swadanavatu. It is like the way that the dumb eats something and then he can't give an expression. The same mouth which has experienced the sweet, the same mouth cannot give an experience of expression to that. You mean to say that the sweet has not given any experience? What you ate did not give any experience? Then you see that something else that you give. You give him a pepper. You give him a red pepper and see that what happens. He's a dumb fellow. You can see that all that expression in his eyes, in his face. Words cannot express, but then experience is there. So like that, basically, that experience is something which is extraordinary. We need to accept it. Anirvachaniyam Prema Swarupam Muka Swadanavatu. But what happens to this expression? Whatever that experience that is there, it's already there belonging to the consciousness's experience. And Prakashate Kvapi Patre. It's a very, very beautiful, significant statement sutra that he has given, Narada has given. When there is a suitable situation comes, it finds its expression. Please, this is a very important statement, because that love does not depend upon the objective world outside, it depends upon us. I have that love. Only thing is, when a suitable situation comes, it manifests on that. Like, for example, I have that expression of love within me, appreciation that's there within me. But the moment the sunset is taking place in front of my eyes, and I get that expression into me saying that, wow, what a beautiful sunset it is. See, that expression comes when a suitable situation comes. It does not mean I didn't have that experience within me. I had that experience all the time within me. Only thing is, it finds an object so that it manifests. I was trying to explain how this can be understood. For that, we need to recollect one thing. In the middle of the night, on a full moon night, you are sleeping in the open sky. All around you, the dark sky that is there, excepting the bright moon that is there at the sky. How beautiful it is. Very pleasant evening and night, particularly. It is not too cold and not warm. It's very pleasant. Especially this is a season when you should have that natural atmospheric expression. And in that, on full moon night, then you see the moon shining on the sky. And today we know that the moon does not shine by itself. It does not have any light. But the moon shines because of the sunlight. We all know that, scientists know. But you look at the sky, anywhere in the sky, range of you are looking at the sky, you don't see the sun. Everywhere it is darkness, completely dark. Only the moon is shining. But you know the sunshine falls on the moon and it shines. Have you ever thought about it? That means to say, though there is darkness all over, there is sunlight which is traveling. Only that you don't see that. Why don't you see the sunlight? We don't see because that there is no object on which it shines. Like the way that the sunlight is there in the dark sky all over. Only thing is that there is no object to reflect it, therefore you don't see that. Only the moon on which it reflects, and you see that. Same way that we have love all over. We have an expression of love. In fact, on the other hand, the moment that we are consciousness, that's what is we are love. That's why I said love and life have the same word in Sanskrit. Prema and life is the same thing. So that basically that it is there all the time. Because we have life, that means we have love. Only thing is that there is no object on which it shines at that moment to give shining to that particular thing. Only when we see an object, it shines. And it shines so bright, so wonderful, like the way moon shines by the sunlight. Our love pitches on somebody and then it shines. It's our love shining. It's not because the object outside. Object is only on which my love shines. But what happens is that this is where we do a mistake, saying that I love this person, I don't love that person. I love this person because of that person. And there's another thing, I love him so that he should love me back. All these things come up because that we don't have an idea. Prakashate kwapi patre. It is that there is a suitable situation came on which it manifested. Like, for example, I have compassion in me all the time. Suddenly I see a situation which arises compassion, and then immediately the moment I see that, my compassion comes up. It is there within me, it comes up. Like the way that the rose plant has a rose flower in it. Only thing is, when given an ambience, a rose flowers itself, manifests an expression of that inside, whatever that hidden rose is there. Like the way that rose gives an expression to whatever that is there hidden inside, the same way that prakashate kwapi patre, the light. In fact, prakasha is a very beautiful expression for love, because love is something which makes the things very positive. Otherwise, what is not positive, the moment that you're in the state of love, it gives an expression of that positivity. There was a great painter who was there, Vincent van Gogh. And this Vincent van Gogh, He has a self-portrait is also there. You must see that. He's a very great painter, but during those days when he was painting those days, nobody would love his paintings. Nobody give a value to him because his expressions are something very weird, unique from the point of view of world. People couldn't understand it. Today, people understand that. And he would do so many paintings and give it to his friends and all that thing. They would keep their paintings inside. Only when Van Gogh comes, then they'll uh, uh, exhibit that painting outside. Otherwise, they would keep it inside. See, that was what his popularity was at that time. He was unpopular, actually. And he was also very depressed. In fact, you can see in his paintings his depression. Particularly when you see his self-portrait, you can see that depression that is there. He was always like that. He never had any expression of this thing. And his features are also like that. Nobody would love him. But one day it so happened that one young girl, when she saw him, and she said, I really love you. And the moment she said, I love you, and that brings about the prakashate, the love, the light in Van Gogh. He started really happy, joyful, bright, and all that. People are really surprised. Till yesterday, for 35 years, 40 years that you were so morose and dull and depressed and all that. Suddenly, what happened? He said that this one particular girl, she said, she loves me. Immediately, his friends said that, why do they love him? Why do they love you? What is that she has seen in love in you? To love. Your dress is not all right. You did not. Your features are so bad. You are so depressed looking and all that. There is nothing that anybody can love you. And how do you believe that somebody said that she loves you? Please go and ask her, what is that she loves you? So immediately Van Gogh also went to her and then asked, so tell me, what is that you saw in me that you loved me? She also looked at him. She was perplexed. She was surprised because I don't know what to give impression, because the way that he is dressed, the way that his beard and everything, nothing was attractive. Nothing was something that can really love. So finally she found his ear is something. You have a beautiful ear, so I love that. Because of that, I love you. And Van Gogh immediately cut off his ear and gave it to her. Finish. Said, you love my ear? Okay, give it, take it. So what I wanted to say is that prakasha and love, they go together. The moment you say that I love, spring springs. World looks wonderful. When you are in the state of love, world looks wonderful. Because your love makes the world look wonderful. Your love makes the moon shine. Otherwise, what is moon? Moon is nothing but matter, nothing but the earth. But then what shines in that is because of our love. Love makes that expression of that. That's why prakashate kvapi patre. And this belongs to the consciousness itself. When you are in the state of love, what is giving that expression is the consciousness expresses through you in the form of a love. When the consciousness expresses through you in the form of love, then you see the love everything bright, everything is shining, the moon shining. In fact, such a beautiful expression that is there. When you start seeing the consciousness in the world outside, then the whole world outside becomes like lively, becomes like a worship, actually. See, that is the reason why we have this kind of an expression. We do the puja in front of God. We put the flowers, we put this, we put that, we put water. Because that we have a very limited concept of God, limited form of God. On that, we would like to see something which is an expression of Godhood. So that we try to put the flowers, we try to put. In that small little stone that you are bringing in the life, not only just life, you are trying to bringing in the consciousness. That's what is called as a sankalpa that we do it. Prana pratisthapana, we do it. So that you see the life in that. For a person who is filled with that love, who recognizes that love, for him, this whole universe is nothing but God expression itself. After all, this is what we need to understand. It's not in that particular stone, one particular stone you see the God. It's not that the stone that you're seeing the God, but you're seeing the God in every aspect of it that is there. That's why Prahalada gives an expression, everywhere there is God. His love makes him to see that the divinity everywhere. When you see that divinity everywhere, that's when it happens like this. You don't have to confine yourself, your God, to one particular stone, because it is the consciousness everywhere that you see it. That's why this a poet started feeling this way, that yeah, in what a wonderful way that every day it starts with this wonderful puja. Rises, the sunrise itself is something the way, like the consciousness is recognized at this moment. You see that what the trees will give their flowers. And when trees give the flowers and the plants give their flowers, it's not only just flowers taken from the plant, it's the flowers with the life itself. How can I not offer that kind of a flowers to the God itself? So therefore, in the form of all these plants, their flowers I offer. The river flows with that kind of a wonderful, nice, rumbling sound, which is the life in that. Whereas the river, same thing. I take it in my pot, it becomes like without any expression in that. Whereas the river you see, I offer it to the God, the river itself. That's why we have such a beautiful way. When the sun rises, Sandhya, we go to the river and take the water from the river and offer it as Arghya. It's an expression saying that everywhere that I see the God. Consciousness expresses in some things more, some things less, but other than that, everything is nothing but consciousness only. Everywhere consciousness. We see the consciousness in everything. When we have that, then we don't specially do puja in one place. Everywhere that is there. That's what is the beautiful story of Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak was there in a particular Shiva temple where he put his legs on the Shiva and then sleeping in the night. And I said, what is this? You put your legs on the God. And then Nanak said that you please keep the foot where God is not there. And wherever his leg was turned, the Shivalinga used to come there. So that's what is the expression that is giving an idea, saying that everywhere you can see the God himself. Such a person will not have to go to the temple to find God. Does not mean he does not go to the temple. He will go to the God. He will go to the temple. He will offer his puja. But his puja will not stop at within the four walls of the temple, but it is everywhere. That's why prakashate kvapi patre. It gives us an impression. As long as that you're feeling inside that love is there, as long as that feeling inside that divinity that is there, and that is what is basically, it is prakashate. It just shines. It has same shining, same sunlight will give different colors when it comes to the manifested world outside. So at that level, it does not have any particular one color, one this thing. That's why he says, Gunarahitam, Kamanarahitam, Pradikshana Vardhamanam, Avicchinnataram, Sukshmataram, Anubhava Rupam. It's a very beautiful statement because it has got no gunas there. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, Guna, beyond that is the expression of love. Any expression of love, any experience of love is beyond all the gunas. That's why an animal feels that love, a plant feels love, a human being feels love. It's not the question of somebody who is highly sattvic can only feel love, rajasic cannot feel love, tamasic cannot feel love. And not only that, everybody's feeling of love is exactly the same. There is no difference between that because love belongs to the consciousness. Everybody's consciousness is the same. So therefore that expression, everybody's experience of love is the same. That's why it is gunarahitam and kamana rahitam. In fact, at the level of consciousness, there is no question of kamana. Prema, when it comes down to the material level, becomes kamana. When it degenerates, it becomes kamana. When prema has a tendency to go towards bhakti, it is only thing is it has to leave all the kamana behind it. It has raised above that level, which has a natural ability that is there. That's why I always give an idea saying that all other things on this earth, they follow the gravity. They cannot escape the gravity. They fall onto the ground. accepting the prana that is there inside the plant. You put the seed in the soil, you see the seed plant comes above the ground level, defying the gravity. It goes in the upward direction. There are two things that are there in our experience which go upward direction. One is this prana, which brings a plant in the upward direction. When you look at the plant which goes in the upward direction, what is the prana that is there inside the plant? So little. And it can take the plant above the ground level, defying the gravity. If in that seed, the prana that is there is so little, what is the prana within us? Is it not something which is extraordinary? And if we can understand that prana, it can really take us to the highest level. We never recognize that. That's why this is something which defies gravity, rises above that level. And second thing which we have experiences, you look at the flame. Flame always goes in the upward direction. And the lower end of the flame is the solid or liquid, and upper end of the flame is the sky, space. So our journey is to go toward that space, toward that expansiveness. That's what is the way that love takes us in the upward direction. Guna rahitam, kamana rahitam. Kamana is when you go downwards, when you go upwards, bhakti becomes, prema becomes bhakti. So therefore, that it is kamana rahitam, it is not going the opposite direction, it goes in the upward direction. Pratikshana vardhamanam. Love is something which is always growing. When the kamana is there, when the infatuation is there, that will not be growing all the time. Actually, it diminishes. It declines. It goes downwards. In fact, the moment that our love is declining, going down, it means there is no more love. Our love has been evaporated and we have become materialistic. And that is what basically when the ego comes into the picture. That's what we have seen in earlier sutras. Ego, when it contaminates the love, then it becomes kamana. When the kamana comes, it goes in the downward direction. And also when kamana comes into the level, then it does not grow by itself. It goes down. Whereas prema always grows into the bhakti. Your shraddha always grows into the bhakti. So these are all the expressions of prema, vatsalya, shraddha. All these things are go into the bhakti. That's why kamana rahitam pratikshana vardhamanam. It's always increasing towards that divinity. And what you see normally, that's what I have given that example of when we have a complaint. When we are intellectual, then we have the complaint. When we have complaint, we are miserable. Use a little bit of love there. Take a little bit of love. And we rise from the complaint to tolerate. You are free from complaints. But little more love makes us to see that not only you tolerate, but you appreciate. Accept it. Acceptance to appreciation. And finally, you see the divinity. Always going in the upward direction. So that's why it is urdhvagamana. Love is always in the form of urdhvagamana. That's what is basically says guna rahitam, kama rahitam, pratikshana vardhamanam, avichinna sukshmataram. See, sthula is the gross level. Sthula is division. Sthula divides. You and me separate. That's what is sthula. Sthula level, it is the kamana. Sthula demands the objective world outside. Kamana demands the objective world outside. I want to get it. This is what is kamana. Even the person I love, I go to him the moment I degenerate into kamana, I start expecting what is that I get out of him. In what way I can take advantage out of him. You know, the moment that thought comes into the mind, at once you become a burden. So therefore, the kamana is downward direction and kamana is materialistic. Materialistic means basically it is sthula. Whereas love itself is sukshma. That's why he says that it is sthula to sukshma. Sukshma is at the mind level. Sthula is at the body level. At consciousness level, that's what is basically karana level. And that is what is sukshmataram. Now these are the three different expressions. Sthula, sukshma, and sukshmatara. That means to say that which takes us to the higher level, into the consciousness. Love only can take us. In fact, all the levels of intellect and everything, only divides. That's why it gives the expression before this, avichinna sukshmataram. Vichinna belongs to the intellect. Vichinna belongs to senses. What I hear, the sounds, vichinna takes place. At the intellect level, it always tries to look at this is right, this is wrong, this is okay, this is not okay, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable. In fact, very often what happens is that if you are tuning yourself into the bhakti, into the love, appreciation aspect of it, then you do not go to the vichinna aspect of it, separation aspect of it. Let me give a small little example towards that. Bangalore, you always have these beautiful music programs every year, Sri Ramnavami Utsavas. Great musicians come, wonderful music programs are there. They're really wonderful. There's so much of bhavana, there is so much of love, because that's what the music is all about. But then music is also having some notes and some mathematics behind it. So that's also there, part of it. That's what is the technology aspect of it. But then music itself is something which really pushes you into the higher level. So I usually go to these music festivals and lovely music. I don't know much about music. I mean, thank God I don't know much about music. Therefore, I don't want to get into all that complications. I go and sit down there, and as a natural expression, when I sit down there and somebody nice person is singing and all that, I feel like just putting a beat on that, just simple beat, because that's what I can understand that. But then somebody comes and sits next to me, and I can see that he is doing this, all that. Wow, he's knowledgeable. So when I see that fellow is knowledgeable, then better I keep quiet. Otherwise, I will disturb him. So I just keep quiet, but I'll listen to the music. It's so beautiful, so wonderful. He's also listening. I thought that he's listening and enjoying the beauty of it, enjoying the bhava of it. No, it looks like that he's going through the music scales of it. At one point of time, somewhere, something like that happens. And immediately I could see his expression and he says, she's spoiled. What is spoiled? Some raga somewhere, something like that, missed it. My God. Such a wonderful music. There also he goes into only these things. That means the expression is something which is there, but you can go to the ground level or you can go to the Himalayas. Himalayas can be there at the ground also, but Himalayas there at the top. Can we go to the top? That's what is avichinna sukshmataram. When you go to the vichinna, leave the intellect behind. In fact, that's a very, very important aspect that we need to recognize, is that intellect is a wonderful tool with us, but use it very sparingly. Where it is not necessary, don't bring in the intellect. Somebody is singing, and there's so much of music in that, so much of beauty in that. Just leave it. Don't try to analyze that musically. All those things are there. I see that fellow now, I laugh at him because the whole concert that was there, I'm really enjoying. Thousands of people are enjoying, but this fellow cannot enjoy anymore because he sees that there is some problem in the, Shadjama or some Gandhara, Antara Gandhara, something like that. I don't know what all these things. So, avichinnam. Vichinna is the separation. Vichinna is trying to separate them. Vichinna is categorizing them. Avichinnam. Prema, there is no categorization. There is no categorization of whatsoever in the prema, love, sukshmataram. And sukshmataram, when it is only that way, then only it can rise to a higher level, which is supposed to be sukshmataram. Sukshmataram is basically from mind, it can now rise to the level of consciousness. That's the idea. This is the only thing which can take you to the consciousness. Otherwise, all the things in this world belong to the intellect. Intellect can keep you at the world level. Only thing is this prema and connected with activities of prema are the ones which can take you to the sukshmataram, to the consciousness level. That's why sthula, sukshma and karana level matter to the level of mind, to the level of consciousness. This journey can only be possible with the help of Like, for example, from matter to conscious, matter to mind, the bridge is in between prana. Matter to mind, bridge is prana. Similarly, mind to consciousness, the bridge is prema or the bhavana. So once you rise from the mind level, which is supposed to be prema, now it is supposed to take you to the consciousness level, and that bridge will take you to a higher level, sukshmataram, avichinnam, sukshmataram, anubhava rupam. Anubhava belongs to the consciousness. One who realizes that, see that, in fact, my eyes are not seeing the object. Eyes are only the instrument to see the object. Mind also is not seeing the object. Actually, mind is also another instrument in between. Intellect also is not seeing the object. Intellect is also a filter, and an instrument in between. But the consciousness is which is actually seeing the object. Now you see that when consciousness is seeing in the object, consciousness is hearing the object, consciousness is touching the object. So what it does, it only sees the consciousness. So you become consciousness, therefore you see experience of the world is nothing but consciousness. Avichinna sukhnataram, that's what is anubhava. Anubhava, that's why it's an anubhava, it's an expression that comes into somebody who is extraordinary. When you have that experience of that, then only you say, oh my God. See, God is not somebody that you see. God is an expression that what you see. So all these people, great saints, are the people who have seen God everywhere. That means to say, it's not that the object is replaced by God. The person is replaced by God, but the person is there. But you go into such a depth of that person, inner of that particular person, that you see the God inside. A very beautiful story that is there in the yoga, in the Upanishads, where he says, a saint is sitting under a tree, a robber comes around and sees there is nothing around, gets annoyed, he takes a sword and just dagger, punches that saint. Saint opens his eyes, opens and looks at him, smiles and say, my dear friend, you cannot deceive me, you are also God. And he dies. Even at that critical moment, you can only see the God. That's what is Anubhava Rupam. Prakashate Kwapi Patre, Gunarahitam, Kamanarahitam, Pratikshana Vardhamanam, Avichinna Sukshmataram, Anubhava Rupam. Once you realize that, that's when your whole day is nothing but a puja that's going on, worship that's going on, because you see that a tree has the flowers. That means the flower is being offered. And you are nothing but, the tree is nothing but nothing different from you. You are the tree. Silma, the river flows. It's like offering the water. Thora. Toyam. Phalam, pushpam, patram, toyam. Everything is being offered. So that means all around you that the puja is going on continuously. Avichinna sukhnataram anubhava rupam. Tat prapya tadeva avalokayati tadeva Shrunoti tadeva bhashayati tadeva chintayati. When you have this kind of an experience, how can you come out of that experience? You are always in that experience. Tat prapya, once you get that, that experience will be simply going on around you. You cannot come out of it. Experience of that kind of a love. He's always talking about love only. So that love is the way, his talking is the way that he loves. And he hears anything that anybody says is nothing but love. Tadeva shranoti. Tadeva chintayati. He only sees that about the love aspect of this world. Tadeva chintayati. Tadeva bhasayati. That's only he talks about it. He cannot talk about anything else. It's like the way, in the another very beautiful expression that is there about the consciousness, about the awareness, people give that, Ramakrishna Paramahansa gives that statement, saying that the mother is carrying the water, and a story that he gives that, these ladies, that they'll be pounding the rice, and with a wooden mallet, they'll be pounding the rice in a stone pot, and 2-3 ladies, they'll be turning that, because you have to put the hand to turn that. And then the child is there in her lap, and then she'll be doing that. And it's not one lady who is pounding this thing. There are two, three mallets that were coming and then pounding. And this lady will be turning her head and then talking to the ladies about the politics and everything that is there. In spite of the fact that she's talking to them to the politics, meanwhile, the child also is crying, saying that, Mother, it's enough time now, we have to go home. Then the mother tries to convince the child, don't worry, don't be in a hurry. This is the last one. Once I finish this, I'll give it to the landlord. He will give us the rice, and then I can make a nice pudding for you. So she says all those things to the child. In spite of the fact that she is doing all this multi works and all those things, she will not be hit by the mallet. She will not be hit by this wooden mallet because her awareness is there. So whatever that you do, that awareness is continuously there. It does not miss it. I often quote this example in the case of stress. People talk about stress. You say, world is something like this mallet which is pounding on you all the time. You're like the mother taking care of your duty that you have to work, but at the same time, you take care of the child. And then you talk to all these people about the politics. In spite of all those things, if your awareness is there, you're not hit by the mallet. Because tadeva chintayati, tadeva bhashayati, tadeva avalokayati. There it is the degree of awareness we are talking about. Here, it is out of love that you do every activity. So, tat prapya tadeva avalokayati, tadeva chintayati, tadeva shrunoti, tadeva bhashayati, tadeva chintayati. So that alone, this love, it is there. Now, this particular sutra is very significant to see that now he says that bhashayati, chintayati, and that means avalokayati. Now he is going into the world outside. See, so far the prema, he talks about prema belongs to the consciousness inside. Now that prema comes to the expression into the world outside. When it comes to the expression into the world outside, it takes the form of the world. World has different guna, different ways of expression that is there. So therefore, once so far until the sutra, and that's what is 55th sutra he gives, is the sutra which talks about the experience that is there inside about the prema. Now the expression about the prema gives very clearly. Often what happens is that we think that there is no gap between the experience and an expression. But no, very clearly Narada says that expression depends upon the world outside. Expression does not depend upon your experience. I might have experienced something which is extraordinary, which is out of the world experience. But the thing is, when it comes to the expression, I just cannot give an expression. Like, for example, I see somebody who is really beautiful. Dress is extraordinary, exquisite. But I just cannot go and give her a compliment saying that you are looking so beautiful. Basically, I should see that whether that society permits me or not. I give a hug, but I don't know whether that society permits me to give a hug or not. If the society outside world accepts it, then I can do it. So the expression belongs to the world outside. Expression doesn't belong to me. And also it basically, when it comes to the expression, then it goes into the form of gunas. That's why the Gauni Tritha Guna Bedat Arthadi Bedatva. Now, this expression, there are three different kind of an expression that is there. We can see that. Like, when I remember when I was childhood, we used to have this tribal nomads, Nambadis in our village, so many. And when their relative comes from some nearby village or some different village, after a long time that they are seeing all the Lambanis get together, and the guests, the visitors were there, 2-3 visitors, and then there's 5-6 Lambanis were there. They all sit together and then they cry so loud. First time when I saw that they were crying loud, I was thinking that something wrong happened, something bad happened, somebody died or something. No, guests have come, so we are crying. So that's, yeah, we can see that somebody who is in love, tears come out of their eyes. But crying loud, first time I've seen them. Then I found out in that tribe, expression comes that way. Love experience is there, but expression comes in a different way. So therefore, the expression has different ways that expression comes. Buddha has not shown any love. He was only teaching. but he was an extraordinary teacher of love. So therefore, expression-wise, that there are different expressions that are there according to the guna. Guna bhedat, artadi bhedat. There is a bheda in the artata, there is bheda in the guna. We'll see that how this differentiation will be useful, understand it, so that our expression comes. Not only in this case, you can see that even in the puja also, that you see that there are so many different types of puja that is there. There are Rajasic puja, Sattvic puja, Tamasic puja. All these things are there. This is because the Grauni, Tritha, there are three different varieties that you can think of. These things based on the gunas that are there, Guna Bheda, Artadi Bhedatva. We'll see that how those things differ, how these expressions come in the next day, next class that we do. Thank you so much. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, Raghuramji. Anybody has any questions?
Yeah.
Kun, you wanted to ask anything?
Mukundji.
You are on mute.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I will unmute you.
Right. Unmute everybody. You can unmute everybody.
You can unmute yourself, yeah.
Yeah, now it's unmuted. I have no doubts. Yeah, no words.
Anirvachaniyam.
Anirvachaniyam.
Only thing I wanted to tell, yesterday.
Yeah.
We lost you, Mukund.
We were having a discussion, our YB teacher, we were having a satsang, Trigunas.
Yeah.
Were you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we were discussing about Trigunas, and now you connected that love and Trigunas and all again so beautifully. I was just wondering how beautiful.
Again, we lost you. Yeah.
We get what we want. Very nice. Thank you so much.
Very good.
Thank
you.
Anybody else?
Who's that, Lalita? Somebody speaking?
No,
Voice is not clear.
No, thank you very much. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. Oh, Shilpa. Oh, yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Questions, then we can close this.